Imagine a place where the daily struggle for survival becomes an everyday reality, and dreams die almost immediately after they are born, barely having a chance to unfold. The future seems unattainable and forever out of reach. This is South Sudan, a young country in the very heart of Africa, which has already endured decades of wars, disasters, and destruction in its brief history. It is scarred by internal conflicts, its economy is almost shattered, and its infrastructure is in ruins. Basic services are nearly non-existent, and living conditions can be considered some of the harshest on the planet. In this country, food can become a luxury, electricity a rare privilege, and internet access a distant dream. It is no surprise that South Sudan is regarded as one of the poorest countries on Earth, where the majority of the population survives on less than 6 reals a day. In this video, we will attempt to reveal the harsh truth of this forgotten land, with all its tragedies, incredible strength, and resilience of its people, as well as the unique traditions that continue to thrive despite immense hardships. However, before we begin, I would like to remind you of the importance of some simple actions. If this topic matters to you, take a minute, think about the purpose of this video, and perhaps you will find a way to keep it in your memory. Number 1, the geographical aspect. South Sudan is located in the very center of the African continent. Its borders touch Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and the Central African Republic. The country's total area exceeds 620,000 square kilometers, encompassing diverse natural landscapes, endless plains, tropical forests, and vast savannas. In the heart of the country lies one of the largest swampy areas in the world, i.e. the Sud, an enormous water territory nourished by rivers, among which the mighty Nile stands out particularly. This river flows from south to north, serving as a vital artery for numerous settlements along its banks. Unlike the northern regions, which are mostly dry and arid, the southern part of the country has a tropical climate. At the same time, a significant portion of its land remains difficult to access and underdeveloped. Roads are rare here, and the presence of the state is very limited. Despite all these hardships, South Sudan harbors an incredibly rich natural wealth. Its lands are inhabited by elephants, giraffes, antelopes, and many other species of wildlife, with natural reserves remaining virtually untouched by humans. This is a land of contrasts where the grandeur of nature intertwines with profound humanitarian tragedies. A place where stunning natural beauty coexists with unimaginable hardships. Here, the creative power of nature is evident alongside the endless woes faced by its people. Number 2, about the people and their culture. The population of South Sudan is approximately 11 million people, representing more than 60 different ethnic groups. Each of them has its own language, traditions, customs, and values, making this country one of the most ethnically diverse on the African continent. Among the largest populations are groups such as the Dinka, Nuer, and Bari, who form the main inhabitants of the country. This diversity is both a great wealth and one of the most challenging aspects of the social structure. Conflicts between these peoples over land, water, resources, and political influence have escalated over the past decade, often turning into open clashes. These conflicts have claimed hundreds of thousands of lives and forced millions of people to leave their homes, becoming refugees. Most residents of South Sudan live in rural areas, engaging in subsistence farming, herding, and fishing. These activities are vital for their survival. The official language is English, inherited from the country's British colonial past, which influences education, official documentation, and interethnic communication. Amid ongoing conflicts and hardships, the country continues to struggle for its future, holding on to hope for a better tomorrow. Despite the existence of many languages spoken, only a few residents of South Sudan are fluent in all of them. Daily communication predominantly occurs in local dialects such as Dinka, Nuer, Bari, and Zande. These languages are heard in streets and markets, villages and settlements, vividly reflecting the region's rich cultural heritage. At the same time, their widespread use often makes mutual understanding difficult, adding extra challenges to national unity and the unification of the people. From a religious perspective, South Sudan differs significantly from its northern neighbor. The majority of the population practices Christianity, mainly Catholicism and Protestantism, influences brought by European missionaries present in the region. However, despite this, many still adhere to traditional African beliefs based on reverence for natural forces, ancestral spirits, and participation in rituals that connect the living with the invisible spiritual world. Another crucial aspect is conflict and instability. The history of South Sudan was filled with internal struggles long before gaining independence. When, in 2011, the country finally separated from Sudan, millions welcomed this event with joy and hope for a bright future and peaceful development. However, that hope proved to be short-lived. Just 2 years later, South Sudanese found themselves embroiled in a large-scale civil war, this time within their own nation. The enemies became the country's leaders, President Salva Kiir, a member of the Dinka people, and Vice President Riek Machar of the Nuer ethnicity, along with their supporters and allies. Their political conflict quickly escalated into ethnic violence, engulfing towns, villages, and rural regions, destroying everything in its path. Since then, the country has lived in constant fear and danger. Entire villages and settlements have been completely destroyed, major cities razed, and millions of residents forced to hurriedly leave their homes, taking only the essentials with them. Today, more than 4 million South Sudanese remain displaced. Some are hiding in refugee camps abroad, while others are in temporary shelters within the country. The government faces enormous challenges in maintaining control, as deep distrust exists between ethnic groups. Divisions appear within the army, and state institutions are weak and incapable of ensuring stability. Each new peace agreement offers hope for positive change, but it is often quickly shattered, leaving the people in a constant fight for survival. In these conditions, people live amidst chaos, uncertainty, and broken promises, desperate to find even a little stability. A third major aspect is life without basic amenities. If you think your everyday difficulties are significant, perhaps you are unfamiliar with life in South Sudan, one of the poorest countries in the world. Everyday tasks such as turning on the lights, opening a tap, or charging a phone are considered luxuries beyond reach. About 80% of the population lives in rural areas, and over 70% of homes are constructed from mud bricks, straw, or other readily available materials, often without basic amenities. Most of these houses lack beds, sofas, or refrigerators. Families sleep directly on the ground, cook food over open fires, and toilets are simple structures or sometimes non-existent. Electricity is virtually unavailable. Only 7% of the population has access to it, and even in cities, power outages can last for hours or even entire days. In rural areas, nights are plunged into darkness lit only by kerosene lamps or fires. Access to clean water is also very limited. Approximately 60% of the population lacks safe sources of drinking water, creating additional hardships and health risks. Every day, women and children walk 4 to 6 kilometers to reach rivers or shallow, often contaminated wells in search of the water they need. In such conditions, internet access is almost non-existent, and mobile phone connectivity is only available in larger settlements. In rural areas, 90% of the population live without access to any modern communication means, deprived of the ability to quickly connect with the outside world and obtain vital information. The transportation infrastructure here is extremely limited. Due to the absence of paved roads, most people travel on foot or by animal-drawn carts. This is the only available way to reach necessary destinations. When illness occurs, the situation becomes particularly critical, as some regions have only one doctor per 100,000 inhabitants. Perhaps the most shocking and distressing reality is that nearly 78% of the South Sudanese population lives on less than $1 a day, which is spent on food, water, clothing, and transportation. For them, basic comforts that are considered commonplace in the rest of the world, access to clean water, medical care, or decent housing, are simply unavailable. Life under such conditions becomes a daily struggle for survival, where each small victory is a notable achievement. A plate of food, a drop of clean water, or a quiet night, free of fear and worries. Turning to the economic situation, in South Sudan, it is virtually non-existent or very fragile. The country cannot boast a stable industry or developed infrastructure despite its rich natural resources. It has reserves of oil, gold, and fertile land, yet most citizens still live in poverty. A difficult question arises: how can a country with such valuable wealth beneath the surface suffer from severe shortages of the most basic necessities of daily life? Over 90% of the national income comes from oil exports, but the proceeds from sales almost never reach ordinary people. These financial flows are concentrated in the hands of a small elite, with large sums used to fund international contracts and costly military expenses. As a result, millions of residents are constantly faced with hunger. And this is not just a metaphor. More than half the population lives under serious food deprivation. In many villages, managing to eat even once a day is considered a celebration, especially if there is food to eat. Agriculture, which could serve as a reliable salvation, is stuck in the past. People work on their fields manually without modern machinery, irrigation systems, or government support. Their harvest depends entirely on the whims of nature. If there is no rain, crops die. If there is too much, fields are washed away by powerful floods. The outcome is clear. Production declines, markets are emptied, prices rise, and hunger spreads. Unemployment is widespread. Most people are forced to survive through casual jobs. They sell firewood, catch fish, carry water, or plant crops to sustain themselves, and prospects seem hopeless. Many young men, seeing no future, leave for armed groups in search of a better life. And if you ask a child what he dreams of becoming, the most common answer is just one word: to leave, because everything here seems hopeless. Part 5 of 9. Regarding natural features, if Sudan is mainly associated with deserts and dry steppes, then South Sudan is a totally different landscape. It is a true kingdom of water, not with beaches and calm sea coves, but with a colossal swamp, a vast wetland that extends over an enormous territory, appearing endless. During the rainy seasons, this area expands to over 130,000 square kilometers, roughly the size of all of England. It is a world within a world, a complex labyrinth of waterways, floating islands, and dense vegetation where silence reigns and a special sense of timelessness is felt. There are more boats than roads, and water far exceeds land. This unique natural phenomenon creates the impression that nature here possesses its own little explored and mysterious life, turning the lives of the people living in this place into an endless struggle for survival and harmony with the surrounding element. What from a distant perspective seems wondrously beautiful is actually one of the most isolated and harsh corners of our planet. There are virtually no modern infrastructures here, no schools, hospitals, or roads. Access to this land, or an exit from it, is possible only via river, by canoe or small boat, if the locals even have one. The swamp, called the Garden, hides many secrets. Its constantly changing and unpredictable geography complicates navigation and makes mapping almost impossible. It is said that deep within this swamp still lie many unexplored areas untouched by human foot for decades. Even pilots have long avoided flying over this region, fearing to lose orientation in the endless water maze where every wave could divert them from course. The garden swamp is both a miracle of nature and a serious challenge for humans, one of the last untamed wetlands on the entire planet. Its significance for South Sudan's ecosystem is immense and hard to overestimate. This place is surrounded by mysteries beyond human understanding. Number 7. The River of Life. In a country where most resources are scarce, millions of people continue to live thanks to one force, the Nile River. More precisely, the White Nile, flowing from Uganda through South Sudan, like a living artery carrying water, food, and hope to all who dwell here. Life in this harsh land where heat and drought prevail, and natural disasters often afflict people, is impossible without this river. Along the Nile's banks, daily life is bustling. People fish, irrigate fields, wash clothes, and draw water for drinking. Yet this blessing is extraordinarily fragile. During the rainy season, the river overflows, flooding villages and turning fields into marshes, while in dry months, water recedes, leaving cracked earth and intense thirst. And despite all this, no one lives far from the Nile, because where the river flows, life in all its forms persists. But the Nile is not only a source of life, it also generates tension. The fate of most South Sudanese is directly linked to conditions outside their borders, what happens in neighboring countries. Plans to build dams in Sudan, Ethiopia, or Egypt could significantly alter the flow of water reaching South Sudanese territory. If water supplies diminish or the flow completely ceases, everything will collapse, both the economy and people's lives. How can a country survive that relies solely on one river that unpredictably contracts or expands, sometimes under foreign control? For the people of South Sudan, the Nile is not just a water source, but the heart of their culture and life. Yet even the strongest heart can stop if the world chooses not to listen to its beats. Number 8 is the soul of the people. In conditions of poverty, hunger, and endless conflicts, it is culture that keeps the population of South Sudan afloat. Each ethnic community preserves its unique traditions, customs, rituals, and worldviews, creating a vibrant and complex tapestry of national identity. The country is home to over 60 ethnic groups, each rich, diverse, and unique, just like the varied landscapes of this region. This diversity gives people strength, pride, and a sense of purpose even amid chaos and instability. Among numerous traditions, cattle hold a special place. Owning a large herd is considered a mark of honor and dignity. These animals are not only an economic resource, but also symbols of status, influence, and even love. To marry, a man must give the bride a bride price in cattle. The more he offers, the more esteemed the union is regarded. In this region, cattle are not only cultural symbols, but also currency upon which social standing and livelihood depend. In South Sudan, these animals symbolize status, wealth, and respect, linking the traditions of the past with the everyday life of the present. Traditional dances represent one of the most vivid and lively expressions of this people's uniqueness. To the rhythm of drums, men cover their bodies with ash or clay and move with strength and expressiveness, conveying the depth of their feelings and cultural identity. At the same time, women sing ancient melodies, clap their hands, and spin in brightly colored dresses decorated with beads, creating a striking and mesmerizing spectacle. Even during periods of hunger and hardship, celebrations continue to thrive and fill their daily lives, for this people's joy is not merely an emotion, but an essential means of resistance and maintaining inner strength. Among numerous rituals, the Dinka dance stands out for its rhythmic jumps and symbolic depth. Performed during initiations and community festivals, it expresses bravery, unity, and reverence for ancestors. Every gesture in this dance conveys powerful messages about connection to the past, and the spiritual strength of the people. For the people of South Sudan, dance is not only entertainment but also a safe way to express their identity, survive, and make their presence known to the world. Even in times of upheaval, the spirit of this people remains unbreakable and strong, and their culture and traditions serve as unwavering pillars in any situation. Number 9. The giant people of Africa. In the context of poverty and hunger, one nation in South Sudan stands out literally and figuratively. This is the Dinka, known as the tallest ethnic group on the African continent, and according to some sources, in the world as a whole. Members of this community often reach heights of about 1.5 meters, and some men naturally grow taller than 2 meters. Such an impressive stature is not only a genetic trait, but also a reflection of a long history, traditions, and a unique way of life passed down through generations. The Dinka people are the largest ethnic group in South Sudan, and their life largely revolves around cattle herding. For them, cattle are sacred beings, a source of milk, and symbols of wealth, beauty, and status. Each cow is named, and the shape of its horns carries special meaning passed down from generation to generation. Milk is the main nourishment for their families, while manure serves as fuel, is used to combat insects, and even offers protection during rituals from the scorching sun. Their daily activities are closely connected with caring for their herds and revering the land on which they live. The Dinka also preserve extraordinary traditions. During initiation rites, young men receive deep cuts on the forehead with metal blades, leaving parallel scars that bleed for several days. These markings are not ornaments but signs of courage, resilience, and transition into adulthood. Showing pain is a demonstration of strength, and enduring it patiently earns respect. For the Dinka, the body is a sacred manifestation of the spirit, and scars are symbols of beauty and earned tradition. Displaying strength and great height is seen as a fateful sign, an emblem of power, pride, and the indomitable spirit of their people. Entire villages hold competitions to determine where the tallest men live, because, for the Dinka, height is not just a physical trait, but a symbol of destiny and inner strength. Number 10. Hidden beauty. When most people think of South Sudan, images of tourist sites, monuments, or scenic landscapes rarely come to mind. Yet that is precisely what makes this little-known country special. The mysterious and hidden beauty preserved amidst chaos and conflicts. Beyond the hardships and political instability lies a land of wild nature and rich heritage, almost untouched by civilization. Inside the country are the Boma and Bandingila national parks, which host some of the largest animal migrations on Earth, truly a natural wonder. These territories have almost completely preserved their pristine natural beauty, revealing secluded corners to attentive observers where the true spirit of the country is hidden, full of life and ancient traditions. In this hidden and mysterious place, sunlight barely reaches, yet it remains a testament to an ancient era when nature and humans existed in harmony. This spectacular natural phenomenon exceeds even the scale of the famous Serengeti, although very few people know about it. It's hard to imagine that every year, hundreds of thousands of antelopes, buffaloes, and other wild animals perform a grand migration across endless plains guided solely by their unwavering instinct. This remarkable natural wonder remains almost invisible to the human eye, as only a few have the chance to witness it. In the southern regions near the border with Uganda lies the Nimule National Park, where elephants, hippos, and giraffes roam freely across picturesque green hills located along the majestic Nile River. In the early hours of the morning, when a gentle mist softly envelops the trees and all the wild nature begins to wake, The landscape seems like a quiet reminder that beauty and harmony still exist, even in the most difficult times and in the heart of trials. For adventurers, the mountains and regions of Maban reveal new, astonishing sides of nature. There, a dense tropical forest spreads out with Mount Kinyeti rising at its center, the highest point in the country, reaching 3,187 meters above sea level. The path to the summit is rarely accessible, but it is precisely the brave seekers who are rewarded with untouched corners of nature and encounters with rare bird species that cannot be found anywhere else on the planet. South Sudan is a land of sharp contrasts where breathtaking landscapes blend with ancient traditions and rich culture, sometimes coexisting alongside severe hardships. Life in this country is a constant struggle for survival, but it is precisely this that bears witness to the remarkable resilience of its people. Thanks to the richness of their folk traditions, vibrant dances, and indomitable spirit, the inhabitants of South Sudan remind the world of the enduring power of human will. Even amidst suffering, their lives harbor nobility, beauty, and unquenchable hope. After such a journey through the most fragile of all known countries, share what touched you the most. I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you agree, don't forget to pause and reflect on each word, as your opinion is very important to us. I wish you to discover new horizons and continue exploring the wondrous corners of the planet. The next video is already waiting for you on the screen, and I am sure it will not leave you indifferent. Feel free to leave a comment, share your thoughts, or tell us which country you'd like to visit in your next trip. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you in the next video.